Welcome to Hong Kong Brief. The content of the briefing includes StarCharge weighing $500 million Hong Kong IPO due to EV boom, sources say. China stocks are world's best value proposition, Gavkal says. Hopes for a Hong Kong IPO recovery hinge on two big ifs. Hong Kong's popular structured notes see $1.6 billion wipeout. Hong Kong's top court restores activists' conviction over banned vigil on Tiananmen crackdown. StarCharge weighing $500 million Hong Kong IPO due to EV boom, sources say. Bloomberg. Chinese electric vehicle charging equipment provider StarCharge is reportedly considering an initial public offering, IPO, in Hong Kong that could raise around $500 million. The company is working with China International Capital Corporation and China Merchants Bank International on the IPO, which could take place this year. StarCharge is seeking a valuation of $5 billion in the listing, according to sources. The company provides charging solutions for EVs, ranging from large petrol station-like centers to smaller residential units. China stocks are world's best value proposition, Gavkal says. Bloomberg. Charles Gave, co-founder of the Gavkal Group, believes that China's equity market offers the best value in the world. He suggests that investors should be buying shares of companies in sectors like healthcare, tourism, and luxury goods, as China is set for a boom in corporate profits. Gave argues that the Chinese stock market is undervalued and in a state of panic, making it an attractive investment opportunity. He points out that China's stocks are the cheapest they have ever been compared to the US and regional peer India. Gave has a track record of successful predictions, having been bullish on Japan in 2020 and correctly predicting a bear market in Europe in 2018. Hopes for a Hong Kong IPO recovery hinge on two big ifs. Nikkei Asia. Equity fundraising in Hong Kong fell to a two-decade low last year, and some experts predict that the IPO market will not improve in 2024. Bankers advising on big deals this year are hopeful that a potential interest rate cut by the Federal Reserve and further recovery in China will stimulate investor appetite, but the timing of these events is uncertain. The Hang Seng Index dropped 10% in the first 3 weeks of trading this year. Hong Kong hosted 73 new listings last year, raising a total of 46.3 billion Hong Kong dollars, $5.92 billion. Hong Kong's popular structured notes see $1.6 billion wipeout. Bloomberg. During the recent stock slump in Hong Kong, $1.55 billion of leveraged derivatives were wiped out, causing retail traders to lose the premium they paid and exacerbating market volatility. The derivatives, known as callable bull or bear contracts, allow investors to place leveraged wagers without buying the underlying asset. Their popularity has meant trades related to the securities have frequently been blamed for driving up market volatility in previous rounds. Hong Kong's top court restores activists' conviction over banned vigil on Tiananmen crackdown. Associated Press. Hong Kong's highest court has reinstated the conviction of activist Chow Hang-tung for inciting others to participate in a banned vigil commemorating the 1989 Tiananmen Square crackdown. Chow was sentenced to 15 months in prison in January 2022, but her conviction was overturned on appeal in December. The Court of Final Appeal ruled that the police ban on the vigil was plainly a proportionate and legitimate measure. The vigil has been banned since 2020 due to COVID-19 restrictions, and the Hong Kong Alliance in Support of Patriotic Democratic Movements of China, which organized the event, disbanded last year under the national security law. Evergrande case could test China-Hong Kong insolvency arrangement. Nikkei Asia. A Hong Kong court will consider a winding-up petition for China Evergrande Group next week in a case that could test cross-border insolvency arrangements between Hong Kong and Beijing. Evergrande, the world's most indebted property developer, defaulted in 2021, making it a prime example of the liquidity crisis in China's property sector. The case is being closely watched by insolvency practitioners because of its potential implications for a 2021 arrangement between Hong Kong and China that allows Hong Kong liquidation proceedings to be recognized in the Chinese cities of Shenzhen, Shanghai, and Xiamen. Top banker pay sinks below $1 million in Asia as bonuses vanish. Bloomberg. Senior investment bankers at Wall Street firms in Asia are experiencing the lowest pay levels in almost 20 years due to a lack of deals in China and Hong Kong, according to people familiar with the matter. Many senior bankers' total compensation has fallen to $700,000 to $800,000, well below the $1 million or more they typically earned in the past. At least 20% of managing directors at banks such as Morgan Stanley and UBS received no bonus last year. The decline in bonuses outpaced the decline in base pay. Hong Kong actress breaks barriers as first in Japan's adult video market. Japan Times. Irena So, a Hong Kong actress, has become the first woman from the former British colony to break into Japan's adult video industry. Her achievement has been mostly favorable, especially among young Hong Kong women, who view her lifestyle choice as a new challenge in a society dominated by Chinese control. So's venture into the porn industry began with selling erotic photos online, and she later decided to become an adult video actress. With no established industry in Hong Kong, she aimed for Japan's booming adult industry. Jokowi's cabinet shows cracks with finance chief weighing role. Yahoo! Indonesian President Joko Widodo's behind-the-scenes support of presidential candidate Prabowo Subianto is causing divisions in his government, with some ministers considering resignation. Finance Minister Sri Mulyani Indrawati is among those considering stepping down. Others include Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi and Minister of Public Works and Housing Basuki Hadimuljono. Jokowi's oldest son, Gibran Rakabuming Raka, was appointed as Subianto's running mate, causing unease among the president's party. Some 204 million Indonesians are expected to choose their next leader on February 14. Hong Kong industrial property picks up amid rising data center demand. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong's industrial property sector is experiencing an increase in demand, with companies such as Microsoft Data Center Holdings signing up for long-term leases for data center facilities, according to property consultancy JLL. The software giant has signed a long-term lease for a portion of $2 Hong Kong, a project being developed by Shanghai-based provider GDS, that is expected to be operational in 2025. The scarcity of suitable buildings for conversion into high-capacity data centers remains a challenge for the city. Hong Kong's worst office slump squeezes real estate funds. Bloomberg. Hong Kong real estate funds are struggling to sell office towers as they try to exit the market before interest payments on loans mount up. The market has been hit by a significant slump in commercial property, with falling rents and rising borrowing costs. Office prices have fallen by 35% from their 2018 peak, but there are still few buyers due to low yields and the potential for further rent drops. Some office owners have stopped repaying their mortgages because rents no longer cover costs. Asia stocks climb on China rally, dollar gains, markets wrap. Yahoo! Asian equities climbed as investors wagered that China's latest stimulus measures would provide a floor for the country's cratering stock market. The People's Bank of China said it would cut the reserve requirement ratio for banks and hinted at possible further cuts. The People's Bank of China Governor, Pan Gongsheng, said the RRR would be cut by 0.5 percentage points on February 5 to inject 1 trillion yuan, $140 billion, in long-term liquidity. China stocks bounce loses steam, focus turns to ECB. Yahoo! Asian stocks traded cautiously and bonds fell on Thursday while investors waited on more detail of China's stimulus plans and for a European Central Bank meeting later in the session. Tiny Pacific Islands are a major front in the US-China Cold War. Bloomberg. China's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, is tying developing countries into economic dependency on Beijing that some are already regretting, according to Admiral James Stavridis. China's strategy involves providing key infrastructure in regions such as Sub-Saharan Africa, Latin America, the Caribbean, and the Western Pacific. However, Stavridis argues the U.S. needs to up its own game by providing similar funding for important infrastructure. He suggests working with allies in the region, such as Australia and Canada, as well as showing smaller nations that the U.S. is in their region to stay. Billionaire courted Singapore's political elite. It backfired. Yahoo! Singapore billionaire Ong Beng Seng, 78, is the cornerstone of his $1.1 billion fortune, according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index. A close associate of Formula One Supremo Bernie Ecclestone, Ong is the owner of the Singapore Grand Prix, as well as Singapore-listed Hotel Properties Limited. The company, which accounts for just over half of Ong's fortune, was on the rebound after 2 years of losses during the COVID pandemic. Ong also holds a combined $175 million worth of shares in luxury bag maker Mulberry Group, car dealership group Komoko Holdings, Singapore GP, and management services company Como Holdings UK. In addition, he has an estimated $270 million in cash. Ong's ways are now taking center stage after an investigation that has already toppled one of the most senior politicians in the city-state. All 27 charges leveled against former Transport Minister S. Iswaran are related to alleged dealings with Ong and his companies. Ong, who was arrested in July for questioning and then released on bail, hasn't been charged. Hey there, folks! It's your friendly neighborhood Six Doctor here, bringing you the latest news from the Six Dimensions. Let's dive right into it. First up, we have Chinese electric vehicle charging equipment provider StarCharge, considering a $500 million IPO in Hong Kong. With the booming EV market, this could be a big opportunity for the company. And speaking of opportunities, Charles Gabe believes that China's equity market is the best value proposition in the world. He's bullish on sectors like healthcare, tourism, and luxury goods, so keep an eye on those. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows in Hong Kong. Equity fundraising hit a 2-decade low last year, and experts predict the IPO market won't improve until 2024. The recent stock slump also wiped out $1.6 billion of leveraged derivatives, causing market volatility. And let's not forget the top court restoring activist Chow Hang-tung's conviction for organizing a banned vigil. The struggle for democracy continues. In other news, a Hong Kong court will consider a winding-up petition for China Evergrande Group, which could test cross-border insolvency arrangements. And spare a thought for senior investment bankers in Asia, whose pay has sunk below $1 million due to a lack of deals. That's gotta hurt. But let's end on a lighter note. Hong Kong actress Irena So has broken barriers as the first from the former British colony to enter Japan's adult video industry. Talk about a career change. And speaking of changes, Indonesian President Joko Widodo's support for a presidential candidate is causing divisions in his government, with some ministers considering resignation. Politics can be a messy business, folks. And that's a wrap for today's news roundup. Remember, folks, keep your eyes on the market, but don't forget to enjoy the little things. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on these news stories? Drop your questions and comments below, and let's start a conversation. Until next time, stay curious, my friends. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.